Hello everybody and welcome back to my S Plus rank runs of Gunvolt Chronicles Luminous Avenger X. Now we're going to be running through we're going to be running through the Autofab plant. I don't know how I messed that up. Anyway, now the Autofab plant is really tight to get around, especially with bullet dashes. It does work in your favor because you can refill bullet dashes easily, even if you have very little. This is one of the easier stages because of how easy you can refill them. But at the same time, you also have these exploding barrels that if you hit them at all, then after a few seconds they'll explode. That area there with the 3 enemies is actually tough to get around if you hit one of them, or if you hit 2, you're next to screwed unless you can move quickly. But it's not too crazy to try and get through as long as you know what you're doing. But if you're worried about hitting them, I'd recommend just targeting enemies and using the gun. That way you don't risk hitting them. But I go for the bigger score anyway. Now, if you go through the secret passage through the pipes, you can get the first bonus emblem of the stage, and that makes it pretty easy. Now, if you stay bullet dashing, you can get this last enemy here, and then you can just hit the ground because there's no enemies left because we have a quick enemy rush, I guess if you could call it? I'm not really sure what to call these rooms. But here I recommend using the gun is because that way you can hit all the enemies while bullet dashing, and then you don't risk losing your score because with the orbital edge, you risk taking out the siren in just a few hits. So keep that in mind that you don't do that. But if you can get away with it in the last few, I recommend doing that. I personally didn't do it because I didn't want to risk losing any points, but you still get a decent amount for using the gun. But you could probably use other weapons, but I like sticking with the orbital edge. Now if you dash up here, you can get one more enemy and start building up your combo again, which there isn't much room here to work with. It's a lot bigger than the other areas, but it does help you get the bigger combo. Now if you dash up here, you can get the second bonus emblem in the stage. It's in the second passage up in this room after the enemy rush. And those are the last few enemies of the stage. And we're moving on to the second part now. Now, the second part is actually very dangerous. One mistake could cost you to have to restart, or attempt to get through the stage without having any kudos and try to build your score back up, which is next to impossible. Because even though it's similar, you have these beams of light. Now, the orange ones will dissipate after a while, and that's how you get the third one. If you hit the beam, you cannot get the third emblem. Red ones never go away so that you're forced to cause them to come down, but the orange ones, most of them you can pass through, but I recommend trying to get as few to go off as possible. It just works out in your favor at the end, but if you need to just go through them on ones that you can go through, I recommend doing that. Here you have to stop bullet dashing, you're not getting through that any other way, and up here, wait here, jump, and then use a diagonal bullet dash to the opposite side where the beam is coming out. That way you're guaranteed to make it. Just hold up and you're guaranteed to make it as long as you do it that way. Then you can get around it. Now if you go past the little passage up here, you can get the final bonus emblem of the stage, which completes the set, giving you a huge bonus, which is really helpful. Now there's not really much area left to go through. There's still a few more enemies that you could take down, so just worry about them, but currently I have enough points to easily get the S Plus rank. Now here, just stick to the left wall and drop down. You'll be fine. Don't worry about it too much, and then we just have the boss. Now, this boss is weak to Orbital Edge. Now, he's also weak to the Muse's Kiss, but personally I've never tested this. Mostly because Orbital Edge works a lot better on him, and you can also destroy his armor that shields him. Now wait for him to do his attack, and watch to see where he bounces before you attack him. Now that orange shield that he brings up every time he floats around, you can destroy that with Orbital Edge. I recommend trying to stay off screen as much as possible until you get him down to his final bit of health, and then he'll use his special ability, Exquisite Artillery, will jump to the middle of the room, spawn a giant explosion in the middle, and then have bombs go around the floor. It's pretty difficult to dodge, but I completely avoided him even getting it off, and yeah, but that's just because my attack is so high that damaging him to that point was really no issue, which is why I definitely recommend having Overdrive Sharpnail. I know I recommend it pretty much in every one of these, but it really does help. No boss, as long as you have a bunch of kudos, does not stand a chance. Personally, I wouldn't rate this stage to be that difficult. It's not too bad, but it is one that I have screwed up a bit before I got this S Plus rank. But as long as you keep at it, and even if you don't have many bullets, this is probably one that you could get the S+ rank on. Even if you just have like the regular 3 bullets and overdrive sharpnail, you could probably manage it pretty easily. But that's going to finish it off for this episode, and I will see you guys in the next one. Later!